In our last episode, we arrived at Vault-Tec University, only to discover that we couldn't access the restricted wing. To gain access, we had to pass a silly test invented by a professor bot. After passing the test, we were finally granted access. And now, heading back to the test vault, we can move to the atrium and open the previously inaccessible maintenance door to explore it. The door slides open, and we find a laser grid. But with the robotic dean's permission, we can walk right through. Heading downstairs, the overseer takes us aside.
This is it. Somewhere past this maintenance area is the restricted wing.
We find it by opening a door to the northwest. We arrive at the bottom of a staircase. Heading upstairs, we find ourselves on a platform with a door to the north, a staircase to the east, and windows to the south. We'll start by exploring to the south. Moving south, we see windows overlooking the test vault, and to the right we find a terminal with some small sealed jars on top of it. Accessing the terminal, Vault-Tec University Proctor System, Aberrant Substance Storage. We find 3 entries in the first current process. Note to current assistant proctors: do not release substances into the vault unless so directed by the lead proctor. It is imperative that we time our actions with the actions of the current overseer in training for maximum emotional impact. We get the impression that scientists were working behind the walls of this test vault to help the overseer with his or her experiments. We remember when we explored the terminals in Vault-Tec University that the last overseer to use this test vault was testing a new food paste formula that he invented that eventually backfired and caused arterial plaque buildup. There was eventually a vault dweller revolt, hence all of the skeletons we found outside the overseer's door upstairs. So the entry we find here must be the remnants of some other earlier experiment that went on here in the test vault. In the next one, conflicts of interest. All, please let the lead proctor know if any of you have any pre-existing relationships with any of the test participants. It is our job to apply the procedures impartially and decisively. Hearing our friends in discomfort or pain can be unsettling and may lead to an under-prescribed application of test materials. Similarly, it is only human to take pleasure in the pain of an enemy or an ex-lover. As always, we endeavor to apply our procedures in an unemotional and scientific fashion. Vault-Tec University, behind the scenes, was experimenting on their own students. We learned this already when we explored the university before Wastelanders, but hearing them talk about causing pain to their students so matter-of-factly and without any thought of human decency is just so very Vault-Tec of them. And in the last one, current levels. Container 1, steam, 75%. Container 2, flatus, 100%. Container 3, carbon monoxide, 100%. Container 4, raw sewage, 90%. Container 5, mentat-infused water, 73%. Container 6, stable strangulets, 18%. And Container 7, blood, 0%. So these were the aberrant substances they were storing here. Steam, farts, carbon monoxide, sewage, spiked water, blood, and I have no idea what stable strangulets is. Guess it's just another day at Vault-Tec University. Continuing south, we round a corner to find a patrol of security guard robots. We find a staircase to the east and a door to the north. Opening the door to the north leads us to the cafeteria of the training vault. This was a hidden door. A wall slid away. This is all beginning to feel very Truman Show. Moving back in, we can explore under the stairs. We find a number of shelves here covered in scrap and foodstuffs. Disturbingly, in one corner, we find a camera pointing at a window. And near to this camera, on a console, we find a note, food notice. all sub-proctors. Please note that all food on shelves A and E are rated toxic in accumulation circulatory system and should not be consumed by individuals that have not signed Test Subject Release Form 3. Please convey this information to your fellow sub-proctors. So instead of should not be consumed by anyone, they're just concerned that the food might be consumed by people who haven't signed the release form. Lovely Vault-Tec. With Under the Stairs explored, we can climb the stairs to see what's up here. Immediately turning around, we find some lockers and some shelves with scrap, and then we hear the unmistakable sound of an assaultron.
Unit in the AO.
We find another staircase leading up. Under the stairs, more shelves filled with scrap explosives and food. Then, taking the staircase up, our path ends at a platform. Here we find an end-of-dungeon steamer truck, some minor scrap strewn about, and most disturbingly, a big orange crate filled with human bones. At Vault-Tec University? Perhaps these came from Braxton's medical supplies. But this is a dead end. However, there were a few other paths that we passed. And so, backtracking, retracing our steps all the way back to that first staircase where we arrived, we can next take the eastern staircase up. Here we find a platform with another staircase leading to yet another platform at the very top. This small platform is an observation level. We find a camera, a clipboard, and a bunch of pencils. Nothing else here, so heading back down, we pass by a large white console in the middle of this platform, and in the console is a terminal. Vault-Tec University Proctor System Projected Energy Control. Here we find 3 entries. In the first, Systemic Limitations. It is important to note that the limiters are in place for a reason. Disabling them can lead to a feedback loop that can affect the proctors, which could lead to corrupted data. Yeah, who cares about human life? The real concern is corrupted data. And the next one, requests. Please make sure that you hand your test ticket protocol forms to a processor in a timely fashion so that it gets tracked and scheduled. Remember, our external developers need significant lead time to deliver assets. And in the final one, available fields. Beam 1, electromagnetic, limit 23 kT. Beam 2, doubt field, limit 18 ANX. Beam 3, space-time delimiter, limit 12 hours. Beam 4, interocitor, limit none. Beam 5, nitron beam, limit RIC 10. And Beam 6, intelligence deaugmentation, limit IQ 75. Wow, so they were experimenting with projecting a wide array of different types of energy. Sadly, we don't really see the results of this experiment in the restricted wing. All we find is this data. There are a couple of shelves to the south, a lot of large yellow machinery. I'm not sure what this is for, perhaps related to the data we just read about. We can move across a catwalk to the northwest and explore these platforms over here. We just find a few storage containers and filing cabinets. That's it for this section. So retracing our steps all the way back to that first staircase, we find one final path available, and that's to head through the blue door bathed in red light to the north. Winding down a narrow corridor, we arrive at a sliding door, and it opens to reveal...
Here, this has to be it. Let's see what they left behind.
A large room filled with what appear to be data banks. And it looks like all of this data is stored on tape. Not a very efficient data storage system. And there's a lot here. Row after row of data storage. We are not really rewarded for exploring each of these rows. At the end of this room, we find a staircase to the west. Passing by a number of skeletons and Vault-Tec University jumpsuits, we can explore some shelves against the western wall, more storage under the stairs, and then at last climb some stairs to the west, where we arrive in a projector room. In the middle of the room, we find the projector, and we can activate it to see what it was the people who were last here in the restricted wing watched.
Welcome, esteemed members of Congress and our armed services, to a very special Vault-Tec presentation. of trade since time immemorial. And in the event of nuclear war, this precious resource will once again become invaluable to rebuilding America's economic future. That is why Vault-Tec has been commissioned to build a different and very real vault. Named for the atomic number of the metal it will guard, Vault 79 will be the new home for all of America's gold reserves. Fort Knox will secretly be retired and emptied. Its gold bullion transported to the new vault, where it will be safe behind Vault-Tec's top-of-the-line automated security. Biometric recognition to verify authorized personnel. Sophisticated laser grid fields to ward off intruders. And, in the unlikely event of a breach, military-grade defensive turret systems built in partnership with our friends at Robco. All of this, along with Vault-Tec's signature lead-line containment walls, airtight construction, fusion power generators, and automated manufacturing facilities. Vault 79, a golden future for the America we all know and love. Brought to you by Vault-Tec.
It is gold! The rumors were true! At this point, the location of Vault 79, which we discovered in our video on Flavia Stabo, appears as a map marker, and it's listed as a mysterious cave. Turning to the Overseer, we can see what she has to say.
For once, the rumor mill gets it right. There is a treasure in that vault. All of America's gold reserves.
That's a lot of security to get past.
Even getting into the vault at all is gonna be a challenge. Let alone dealing with that buffet line of intrusion countermeasures. But the reward?
What's so important about gold?
Not as much today, but that's just it. Put aside the base instinct of hoarding wealth. What could we do with a vault full of precious metals?
What, you mean besides swim in it?
Just listen. As closely as you can.
I don't know, but I'll follow your lead.
Hear me out. What has gold always been used for in human history? Money. We could create our own currency. One with a legitimate authority backed by a real resource. No more barter or wild, unregulated proxies. It won't happen overnight. But one day, we could have leverage to create a new economy. Property rights, taxes, laws. A government.
Vault-Tec must have planned for this. They're still watching out for us.
I doubt it. I think something must have gone wrong. The American government should have come to reclaim the gold. They should be here, but there's no point worrying about all that. We need to get into that vault ourselves, and more importantly, we need help to do it.
I really don't care about this gold or your plan to get it.
I see I'm not going to persuade you by appealing to your desire for a better tomorrow. Instead, think about all of the other useful things that could be in that vault. Useful and valuable things. And it could all be yours. I'm not going to deny that I need your help to get the gold. But whatever else you find in there is yours for the keeping. No questions asked.
This just sounds like you want some kind of gold-based empire.
Our mission is to rebuild this country, remember? We were an economic powerhouse once. We could be that again. And it could start right here, in Appalachia.
I disagree. Currency is just about control. We don't need it.
Of course it's about control. The control to bring order to all this chaos. Do you want to keep living in this wasteland?
I have my freedom. A currency, a government, would take that away from me.
The American government, built on the American dollar, gave you your freedom. Not only that, it gave you protection, rights.
And nuclear war. Don't forget that.
If you won't do this for your country, then do it because we don't have a choice. People are gonna try to get into that vault. They'll die trying to get through security. They'll die fighting over the gold, even if they do get through security. And if keeping all that from happening isn't enough for you, then I guarantee you, there's other things in that vault to plunder. Things we don't want in someone else's hands.
You're not backing down from this, are you?
We can agree to disagree, but we're getting into that vault.
Fine. You've made your point. How do we get in?
We won't be able to do it alone. We need help. Even more importantly, we need people to buy in. To see that gold as their future. Fortunately, you just made contact with two large groups of people who both seem to have their own talents.
She has the same response to both of the top two options. The settlers at Foundation know how to build things. Maybe they can dismantle them too. Or, hell, if you're gonna break into something, why not ask a bunch of raiders?
Do me a favor, talk to both of them. I doubt they'll work together, but we'll want all the options on the table.
Or we can say, we don't need either of them. We should keep this within 76.
Appalachia isn't just ours anymore. We need people whose talents aren't covered in the Vault-Tec training manuals. Look, talk to them both. See if they can help us. We can plan more once we know what all our options are.
And the Overseer just won't take no for an answer. We've got to work with the raiders at Crater and the settlers at Foundation. Looks like we don't have to make a choice just yet. I think we can probably work with both of them for now. But before we do, we need to head to Crater and Foundation to let them know what we've discovered concerning Vault 79. Gold. Lots of it. But sadly, I am all out of time. We'll pick up right here where we leave off in my next episode. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss that episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I have a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon are becoming increasingly important as YouTube continues to make platform changes that make the future of YouTube monetization uncertain. So to all of my YouTube members and my patrons on Patreon, you have my sincerest thanks. I couldn't do this without you. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.